this could be the year, in fact the day, when Mario He makes the same transition. Well, you would say it's a hard one to call, but as we've seen again with that story in the previous match, Carl, this whole championship has been so hard to forecast in any way. How do you see this?
Yeah, the only thing that's pretty much a guarantee is that Sanchez Ruiz is playing a part in this World Championships, the world #1, the current US Open champion, World Cup of Pool champion, Derby City Classic 9-ball champion. And this is a big match. Mario He, of course, Michael, he's trying to create his own destiny in the sport of 9-ball.
Sanchez Ruiz just played so well in that quarter-final last night. It's 3-0 down against Chang Yong-lin.
Thank you, take your seats, please.
Won the next 9 racks, but basically breezed through them. And by the end of the match, he'd won 11 out of 12. Came through 11-4, which had not looked likely at all in the early stages. So if he can produce anything approaching that form today, he's going to be so hard to beat. Let's see what happens. Race to 11 for a place in the world final.
Oh, missed the 1-ball. Dry break in the opener from Sanchez. Sometimes it can take you a little while to find the aiming point on the break. Obviously, the 1-ball wasn't far away. It hit both jaws, in fact. Mario He's got a little bit of an angle there, but it's on the wrong side, so he may have to just draw over near the green 6-ball and just leave him a shot on the 2.
Well accustomed, of course, to seeing Austrian representation at this stage of the World Championship, but it's been Albin Ocean in recent years. He was bidding to be the first player ever to get to the final 3 years in a row.
Mario He, a little bit like Mohamed Soufi, he's survived a couple of scares, hasn't he, Michael?
Oh, you can say that again. He's played 121 racks to get here. And all 4 of his matches in the single elimination stage so far have been either 11-10 or 11-9.
Well, that is pretty special. That's kind of unheard of, you know, to keep finding yourself at 10-10 or 10-9. I often say 10-9 is as good as hill-hill. You feel very edgy. So he has come through some battles. That will stand him in good stead today. If he's going to go on and lift this trophy, he knows he can do it under the gun. He's a good start in this match. So far, so good. Needs one more good shot here to make sure you get high on the 6-ball. You don't want to leave the cue ball short. That's okay.
And you've got to lay down a marker early in the match, and what he can do here, as well as winning the opening rack, is send a message to FSR. If you give me chances, I'm going to take them. And it looks like he's going to take this one very well.
Mario and Francisco will have played a lot of pool matches in Europe. Mario will have had a lot of success against Fran and vice versa. So this is not like a case of Mario will have never beaten Francisco. It's just the fact that it's the semi-final of the World Championships.
Yeah, he actually beat FSR in a Euro Tour final a few years ago. And he's beaten him in that opening rack. So Mario He leads Francisco Sanchez Ruiz 1-0. So Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, #1 in the world since he won the US Open back in October. And An absolute dream year. Let's hear some thoughts from the Spaniard.
Last year was so special for me, but this is a new year, new goals, and now I am in the semi-final, so I try my best. I play against Mario. He's gonna be tough because Mario is unbelievable player. But I believe in my game. I try to do everything, even if I play bad, I try to give my best. I have so much respect of Mario. I think that we have like a similar technique, you know, but also he's a good friend of mine. It's gonna be tough, because always I play with him is we go to like hill or very close match every time. So I don't know what happened, but I try my best. If I won this title, I think that's the biggest title in the world, to win the 9-ball, World 9-ball. In the first tournament of the year, it's gonna be amazing for me.
Have you ever met a sunnier, friendlier man than Francisco Sanchez Ruiz?
Well, he has every right to be, because he's sitting on top of the world of pool. But yeah, he's a very likeable character. Mario's breaking a little inside the box. A lot of the players are putting the cue ball as far as they can to the corner of the box, so Mario's a ball or two inside, and he's made the one.
Here's another question. What age is Mario he?
30.
Just 30?
Yeah, 30.
Yeah.
No?
Well, yeah, he's 29 actually. He'll be 30 later this year. And the reason I ask that is because it just seems like he's been around forever. It's hard to believe he's still in his 20s. He got to the final of a Euro Tour event at the age of 15. Played Niels Fyen.
Yeah, you just kind of get the impression a little bit like what Francisco's done. You know, I know it's early on in this match, but if Mario can go on and win this title, is he then going to kick on for the rest of the year and win more majors?
I think winning the World Cup was a huge thing for FSR last year with Spain. They'd only once been past the quarterfinals prior to that. And one thing that has perhaps been a little bit lost in all the success he had last year was that he had that amazing run, having lost his opening match and then almost gone out in the next round on the loser's side. He got to the final of the UK Open in London last May. And I think that was a big confidence boost for him as well. And I think for a long time we felt that was all he was lacking, was a little bit of belief in himself. And the run he had in early summer last year, well, that, I think, really took care of that. But even that didn't come out of nowhere. He'd finished 2021 and started 22 on a very positive note in some smaller scale events.
It's good effort there from Fran, but you would feel he's going to be in a little bit of trouble here. It's all about the speed of the cue ball, this one. Well, he's not that good. Not good at all. He's way short. This is where the shot clock comes into its own, because there's only one shot you can really play, and when you don't have a shot clock, you probably would walk round 2 or 3 times extra. So that's the reason why we have the shot clock in. Nicely done.
It would have been interesting to see what one of FSR's opponents earlier in the week would have done if he'd made it to the shot clock stage. Oscar Dominguez, when they played, was taking so long over his shots and really getting inside his own head. He would really have struggled with the shot clock.
Extension called.
Players, of course, do get an extension per rack. Mario's just used his, that's why he's got a little bit more time. An extra 30 seconds, I believe. This is a nice shot he's trying. He's trying to go off the top rail and then hit the right-hand side rail, but he's got to get the cue ball to bend a little bit. Oh, he's done well here. I think he'll be happy with that.
We've established that Mario He won't reach his 30s until this summer. Sanchez Ruiz, a bit older, he turned 31 just after Christmas.
He's going to leave the gap here in between the purple and the red 3. That's why he's left this 2-ball open. Mario won't be taking the pot on, it's way too thin. I wonder if he's going to try and just bank it down past the 6, use the 9 and the 6 to try and hook. Yeah, that's what he's tried. Needs this 9 to keep going though, it needs to find the back rail. And he's left the gap. The safety aspect of certain shots on a pool table, the brutal. It's not like snooker where you can chip off and go up past the baulk colours. You know, you could see there, it was actually a really good effort, but he's left that little window. Sometimes you can be stood there and think, well, I just don't know what shot to play.
Yeah, and there's only so much distance you can leave between cue ball and object ball on a pool table in comparison to a snooker table.
This is another example, probably trying to spin the cue ball over, like before. In a similar situation again. It's back and forth at the minute. Good thing with 9-ball is you don't really get long racks, do you? Because as you can see here, the balls are quite open. As soon as somebody lays a really good hook snooker, you feel like a chance will come. This is a bit of an easier chance, so he can chip off the right side of this ball, get the cue ball back down where it is. Needs to miss the 3.
Well, our friend and colleague Jeremy Jones played a rack when he was called into the Mosconi Cup team at the last minute, just over a year ago, against David O'Cady, that went on for, I think it was 18 minutes, and it felt like about 2 hours because we're just not used to seeing that. Hard to imagine how a rack, realistically, could go on much longer than that.
Well, this has gone wrong, so it's going to be a chance.
Well, you called it, Carl. You said once someone got a hook snooker, that could be the decisive moment. And by doing so, Mario He has forced the chance, which has got him in. Probably not quite where he wanted to be on the 3, but should be fine.
This shot will actually be really thin from Mario's view. So difficult to show the exact angles the players are faced with. He's bumped the 5. Yeah, he's got to be happy with that. Whenever you bump into a ball unintentionally, you never know where the cue ball may finish. Could have landed on the rail and then left awkward cueing, but this is okay.
By the end of today, these could be the top 2 players in the world rankings. Sanchez Ruiz, guaranteed to stay at number 1. Whatever happens, could have a massive lead by tonight. But if it's Mario He who goes on to win the title, he'll climb to number 2 in the world rankings. Went into the tournament at number 6. He's already guaranteed to move into the top 4, and even by getting to the final, he'll have a minimum ranking of 3rd when the championship ends. Mohamed Soufi, incidentally, will climb to number 6 in the world rankings if he wins the final tonight. So this rack was characterised and defined by a tactical battle. He won it. And as a result has won the rack for a 2-0 lead. Let's hear from the popular Austrian.
It feels amazing, just being in the semi-final, especially after 4 close matches. Could have gone all the other way every match, but in the end I was like the lucky guy to go into the next round. I have to expect for myself to play my best game to beat him. He's a very close friend to mine, but you know, at the table I have to forget that and just fight and try to win. This is my biggest goal in my pool career. I'm 2 matches away, but I just think about that match right now and it would mean the world to me.
Lost his opening match, of course, against Sebastian Barkowski, 9-7, so went to the loser's side and got through that, beat Simona Corral and Tobias Bongers. But as he alluded to there, it's been quite a ride through single elimination. 11-9 against Ekland Kachi, 11-9 against Ko Ping Chung. Then the hill finish yesterday afternoon against Canada's John Morra, who had knocked out Jason Shaw the night before. And then didn't get off to a great start against the 2014 champion Niels Feyen in the quarter-final last night, but turned it around and finished really strongly for an 11-9 win. That's why he's in the semi.
Yeah, also, the man in the final, Mohamed Soufi, also lost the opening match of the event. Well, he's missed the 1 ball on the break, but another ball has gone down. That's the good thing with this new break format. You have to hit them good. If you don't, and you miss the 1 ball in the side, often the balls just, a large percentage of the time, they just seem to come out a little bit weird, a bit awkward.
Extension, please.
It's a loose one there from Mario. Should have done better with that one. There you can see the big window. Sanchez, he won't really want to be taking this in the side. Cue ball's not going to go near the next lowest ball, which is the red 3 up on the top left. He has got a good chance laying a good hook, to be fair. He can get the 1 up towards the top and the cue ball back in behind these balls all in a cluster. Could even maybe try and stop the cue ball in behind the 7. Play the 1-2 rails. Looks like he's aiming to play the 1 in between the centre pocket and the 3 ball off that rail. No, he's jacked up, so is it behind the 7? Well, he did go for that gap. The only problem with that is the 1 has come back out into open play, so Mario will be tempted with a short stick.
Doesn't have any great history in this championship, Mario He, but in the last 16 a couple of times Both times he was beaten by the eventual champion. 2014, he actually beat Alex Pagulayan along the way, lost to Niels Feijen, who went on to win the title, and then 2 years later, Ralph Souquet was among the players he beat on his way to another last 16, and that time lost narrowly 11-9 to Albin Ocean, who likewise went on to become champion.
Another good chance here for Mario. It's a good kick. It wasn't far away, was he, from potting the ball? Some days they go in, some days they don't. Not much you can really do about it.
Mario, he, I think, is associated with the World Cup more than any other tournament. He's had so much success with Albin Ocean for Austria, 2 wins and another appearance in the final, and indeed a semi-final prior to all of that. So how much of a help is that going to be to him today? Because obviously in the World Cup, every match is played on the main table because there only is the main table.
Yeah, it's massive. He will be familiar with the surroundings, you know, the fact that all eyes are on this match, and you know, you sat in your chair, so that's the experience you need. Look at where the cue ball's finished there. You literally couldn't put that better with your hand. He's got a nice angle. It's an easy pot. The early signs are good.
Well, that's just about the best shot we've seen so far in the early stages of this semi-final. Huge match for him, probably the biggest match he's ever played in his career, and an individual event at least. But looks very comfortable with the surroundings, partly I suppose because of the reasons we were outlining to do with the World Cup. So Mario He went into this match certainly a second favourite in everyone's book, really. Long, long way to go, but he's making all the early running. He's now stretched his lead to 3-0. Let's have a look at some of the facts and figures from the early stages of this match.
Well, there's a lot of zeros down the left. Not so sure about the break and run percentage. I think that's wrong on Mario's side, Michael. We've seen Sanchez get out of his chair.
Yeah, it's been pretty dominant, and he has looked good in all departments.
Yeah, 0 balls potted for the Spaniard. He's just been kicking and playing safe so far, but he has found himself in this position, hasn't he? He was 3 down to Chang. We know things can change. Mario will also know this, so you've got to stay focused, and they both look very focused indeed.
Well, by going 3-0 up on the world #1 last night, I think Chang
take your seats, please. The fourth rank.
stirred the beast, as it were, because
Mario,
Sanchez Ruiz then played some of the best
Leading
pool he's
3-0.
ever played. It was magnificent for the next 9 racks, all of which he won, and really there was no way back from there. 3-0 again.
It's a good break. 2 balls gone safe, though. Plays a large part in the very next shot off the break, does the 2, because the 1 gets potted quite a lot. Wonder if he can just roll up behind the 5. Just to play a simple hook. Maybe he can't. A little bit fortunate, to be fair, because he could have left a combo. The 2 could have sneaked out a little bit further and left a pot. This is awkward for Ruiz.
Extension, please.
I always think on a big day like this, a lot of people might be watching the game for the first time. We need to explain a few basic things. So long as you hit the lowest numbered ball left on the table, any pot is legal and it keeps you at the table. Carl referred there to a combination, so FSR, had it been on, could have played the 2 onto the 3, potted that and stayed at the table. But the winner of the rack is the player who pots the 9 ball, regardless of who's potted the previous balls. When you explain that to people, sometimes they think, well, that sounds crazy. You could pot 8 balls and the other guy pots 1. But then when you see it in action, particularly with players of this quality, you understand how and why that works.
Mario's gone airborne. If it is the point, yes, that is delightful outcome. 3 ball is tied up, so it's not all doom and gloom just yet for Fran. At least he's got some insurance up on the top left of the table.
And that's another thing that people unfamiliar with the game might be surprised by, seeing the jump shot being played. It's very common in this game. Again, anyone watching in Britain who might be used to snooker, you're not allowed to do that, to jump over an intervening ball, but it's perfectly legal. Players actually have specific cues for jump shots, and occasionally they use them to produce pots like that.
Haven't seen many jump shots made this week.
Yeah, we said that a couple of days in, and I think the percentage did go up a bit after that, but overall, yeah, through the week, for whatever reason, or maybe for no reason at all, been a lower percentage than usual.
Fran might not have the hook, but there's no obvious safety shot here. He can't seem to go forward with the 3 because that'll hit the purple 5. Maybe tempted to try and cut this ball in.
As he sits down there, at least Sanchez Ruiz has now potted a ball in this match.
Oh, that's nice. That is very nice. And that bump is okay as well. He had to go for the pot there. There was just simply no safety shot available. Here's another look. Watch how thin the cue ball snips this.
Some people believe in destiny and fate. A lot of people don't. When you've had a run like Mario he has had in this championship, probably helpful if you do. Have all those close finishes and survive them. You might start to believe that you're fated to win it. And whether it's true or not, if you can convince yourself of it, it can only help. At what point, Carl, does this lead become so big that he becomes favourite?
I think once you start getting to 5, alarm bells may start to ring for Ruiz. Obviously, it's now a race to 11, so that is massive. You always feel like you get an extra 1 or 2 opportunities, but you feel like the game would need to help you a lot. Mario's going to have to let Sanchez back in to a degree as well. I know it's winner breaks, but you've got to keep getting shots, and Mario's not really had shots off the break, has he? So it's not like Sanchez has played no shots. It's just not quite happened just yet. But he's in tune with his game, the cue ball, everything's just coming on the right side of the next ball.
Francisco Sanchez Ruiz had to come from 3-0 down in his quarter-final. He's further behind here. Mario He leads by 4 racks to 0. We've never had a champion from Spain. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz came in as one of the favourites this year. But things have not gone his way in the early stages of this semi-final. He's 4-0 down against Mario He.
He's breaking very good, isn't he? Very good. Yeah, he's on the 2. He's on the wrong side of it, so he's got to try and force this cue ball around the table somewhere. It's all about just leaving yourself a pot. And you can see from the overhead, that's the angle he's faced with.
It's no surprise whatsoever to see He at this stage, particularly when you look at his record in the big field multi-table Matchroom events last year. Wasn't a great World Championship for him in Milton Keynes, went out to Alex Kazakis in the last 32. But then quarter-finals of the UK Open, semis of the European Open in Germany, really should have beaten Albin Ocean. Had already beaten Joshua Filler in the previous round. And last 16 of the US Open, where he was only narrowly beaten by Si Chia Chen.
Yeah, that's why you see the number 5 next to Mario's name. He's the 5th highest ranked player on the 9-ball rankings. Of course, Sanchez is number 1, but he's number 2 in this event because SVB was number 1.
But that's the first bad sign.
Yeah, that was a good chance. He won't be happy with that. But even though he has missed, because the cue ball's landed on the rail, this is going to be brutal for Sanchez to get a shot on the 4. He's not going to get close to the 4. Even if he goes rail first, you feel like the 6 may play a part in that. Oh, that's a good shot. That is a very good shot.
Talked about the success he enjoyed in 2022. That, of course, meant it was a very lucrative year for him. Won well over $250,000. Leading money winner in pool around the world in the course of the year. He'd never won more than $36,000 in a year prior to that. Just as Mario He sent that message in the opening rack after the dry break that he was here and ready to pounce on any mistakes or openings that were handed to him. Similar noises being made here by the world number 1 off the back of that bad miss on the 3 by his opponent. And so, the man from Spain is on the board. It's 4-1 in this World semi-final. And let's have a look at some details about the man who's just won that 5th rack. Number 1 in the world, as we've been saying. And when you see those two things together down the bottom, it really just underlines what a great year it was for him. That World Cup win with his great mate David O'Cady for Spain, emulating what Spain's footballers had done in South Africa 12 years earlier, winning the World Cup. And then US Open champion, beating Max Lechner in the final in Atlantic City back in October.
Francisco Sanchez Ruiz to break.
Defending his title. A touch earlier in the year this time. It's going to be the last week of September. And we return to the east coast of the United States.
Looks like the 9 ball's going to hook Sanchez on the 2. He's going to need help. He's going to get back into this match. That's not the help he needs.
Push out called. Mario, your choice.
As I was saying, Carl, I think it's important on a day like this when there might be a lot of newcomers to the sport to explain things like this. So tell us once again about the push out.
Yeah, the next shot after the break, you were allowed to do what is called a push out. So Sanchez was trying to roll the 3 on the rail. He wasn't trying to leave it over the middle pocket. And then Mario's got the option of playing this shot, or he can put Sanchez back in, but he fancies his jump shot, so he's playing it. And that's why, big favourite to make it. If the red 3 was on the side rail, and I'm not saying he wouldn't have played it, but it would have been a little bit more difficult. So because Sanchez played a poor push out, Mario had to play the jump. So there's a lot going on with the push out. It's a very skilled asset of the game.
Yeah, and when you're playing the shot on the push out, you can do anything, hit any ball, pretty much do whatever you want on the shot, and that isn't a foul. Always an element of gamble, I suppose, with the push out. In this instance, it isn't going to pay off, it would seem. Yes, we saw that miss on the 3 from Mario He, but generally he's been very efficient with potting, and in particular position so far in this match. Well, saying Mario He got to his first Euro Tour final, aged 15. And those are events that certainly most of the top European players play in, so a very high standard. Since then, he's won 6 of those titles. 2 of them in his home country of Austria, and one of those, he beat Sanchez Ruiz in the final. Won 1 Euro Tour event last year in Italy, and had been in the semi-finals of 2 in a row before that. All part of a really good 2022 for him. So the push-out scenario didn't work out at all for Sanchez Ruiz, and that is why, for the second time in the match, he's 4 behind. It's now 5-1. Now let's get some facts about Mario He, who is now almost halfway to winning this match. 29, as we've said. He'll reach the big 3-0 in August. Number 6 in the rankings. You see the numbers in brackets. They're the seedings for the championship, which are a bit different to the rankings because not everyone is here for various reasons. And also those seedings were set on the basis of rankings at the end of 2022. And 2-time winner of the World Cup of Pool, both times with Alban Ocean. And they got to the final in between as well. So it was 2017 in London and 2019 in Leicester, where we'll be for the Premier League next month, with the 2 wins. And in between, they got to the final in Shanghai and were beaten by the host nation, China.
The 7th rack. Mario He is leading the match by 5 racks to 1, and he will break.
Ooh. 2 just getting kicked into the side. He falls nicely then on the 3. For someone like Sanchez Ruiz, a 5-1 deficit isn't going to give him too much of a fright. He knows he's very capable of reeling off several in a row, but it's getting to that point, isn't it, Carl, where if the deficit gets any bigger, really, then it starts to become a very big ask.
Yeah, he knows Mario's a quality player as well, and Mario is looking good. He's playing some good shots. He's breaking very good. And it was like Chang in the quarter-finals who made a glaring error at 3-up that let Sanchez back in the match, and he turned it around. He's going to need Mario to do the same. Things like this moment now, Mario's got to bump the ball out so it can go wrong.
Extension, please.
Yeah, so he's not got a shot on the 5. So the split has gone wrong. Tried to get the cue ball in behind the brown 7. He hasn't. That's why he's left a pot for Sanchez. Potting the ball. There's a lot of distance. How does he stop the cue ball down here?
Extension called.
To get on the green 6. So that's what he's thinking. Does he try and bump the 9? If he doesn't hit the 9 full, he may not leave a shot on the 6. I think that's what he's got to try and play, though. If he hits the right-hand side of the 9, cue ball will stay on the right-hand side of the table. So worst case, he's hitting the left side of the 9 and having no shot. Played that absolute delightfully. He's fighting for his life in this semi-final. That could have gone wrong.
Great response to the pressure, wasn't it? He knows this semi-final could be in danger of passing him by. Yeah, and after a shot like that, I wouldn't say he deserves to win the rack. He's still got to pot the remaining balls, but it certainly was the sort of shot from which you'd expect to get the reward. And that is how it has turned out. Sanchez Ruiz closes to 3 behind once more at 5-2. One thing we should say about Mario He, Carl, it's his dream to play in the Mosconi Cup. He said that. He did qualify for the team by right, actually, on the points, not as a pick back in 2008, and then effectively was forced to withdraw in unfortunate personal circumstances. If he was to win today, he can put all that behind him, and he would almost certainly qualify automatically. Even if he somehow didn't, as world champion, surely he'd get a pick. So it's a huge day in that respect as well. He can put what happened in 2018 firmly in the past.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, when you look at the two players now on our screens, you've got the man on the left who's just basically trying to win another big major. You know, it's a bit different for him. Of course, he doesn't want to lose this match, so he's got pressure.
Trailing by 5 flags.
But he's riding the pool wave at the minute, isn't he? He's the main man, as where Mario, yeah, he's won the World Cup of Pool, but he still wants that big individual major. And as you said earlier, Michael, he's been in the mix, hasn't he, in 2022? I know he didn't win one of them, but he's been going deep.
Yeah, very consistently. And you're right. FSR has been riding the wave, really, for about a year or more now, and he knows as well as anyone how long it took him to get to that level. He was a very good player for a number of years, but it's just moved up to a whole different grade. So that also means he's aware that you never know how long that's going to last. So you've got to make the most of it while you're playing like that. Oh, this is incredible. Wow. Doing a bit of the high hurdles, goes over the 2. Somehow the cue ball gets back on the table. 2 drops in, and he's on the 3 in the side. Well,
that is the greatest fluke I've ever seen. That is absolutely ludicrous, what I've just witnessed there.
Do you think we need a replay?
Extension, please.
It's just bounced off the rubber and it could have gone anywhere, but somehow comes back onto the table.
What are the chances of that? Look at this. I mean, that is unbelievable. Okay, the fact that it's gone in and the cue ball's come round and landed on the 3 is absolutely insane. I mean, if that changes the complexion of this match and Sanchez gets back in it, I've literally seen it all.
We're going out there when the match is over with 1,000 balls, and I'm going to ask you to do it once in that 1,000. I don't reckon you will. Oh, look what's happened to Wow. And you wonder, was he just distracted by the moment and all the noise?
Well, he went over to Mario, didn't he? And they had a bit of a laugh and a giggle. I mean,
Why would you do that, though? Break your own concentration?
Yeah, it's gone from, like, sort of embarrassment of, you know, an absolute crazy fluke to missing a golden chance. Mario's got to forget about what's going on and really punish this mistake now.
Gone from the most unlikely pot of his career to one of the most unlikely misses in consecutive shots.
Wants the cue ball to keep rolling. A little bit more would have been ideal. That would have made the pot absolutely guaranteed. That's why Mario's called for the extension, because he's got to float this ball in now, because it's quite a thin one. There you see, that's a lot thinner than we realised. So this is a big moment coming up in the match. He will be guaranteed a shot on the 6. Yeah, good shot.
As much as Sanchez Ruiz was maybe distracted by all the hoopla over the remarkable shot on the 2, and so Mario He had to guard against that, and indeed the distraction of seeing his celebrated opponent miss a ball as easy as he did.
Well, when Sanchez missed, I just had it in, because I was like in amazement of the fluke. I was thinking he was going to be playing it into the top corner, so I weren't really paying attention where the next ball was. Because, as we've seen all week, the corners are swallowing the balls up. So when you're playing it into a middle, you can miss them.
We always say getting the flukes and the bouts of outrageous good fortune is one thing, but they don't mean anything if you don't turn it into something more. And that dreadful miss by Sanchez Ruiz has proved very expensive there. So instead of closing to 2 behind, Sanchez Ruiz, for the 3rd time, trails by 4. It's now 6-2.
That could have been a huge moment for Ruiz to get back in this match, and it was
leading the match by 6 racks to 2, and he will break.
It was the jump shot that could have turned it all around. Thankfully for Mario, the madness that he's just witnessed with the short stick, well, that's the past. It's 6-2. He is breaking. One ball again. 9 balls going close to the corner. I think he's got to play the bank shot on the 2.
Not seen a break and run from either player yet.
This bank shot is on, and it looks like he can swing the cue ball around 2 rails to get position for the 3. The green 6 is tied up, in fairness, as well, so there is work to be done in rack number 9. He's got to keep the heat on Sanchez, though. Mario knows that just a couple of mistakes and it's just a few break and runs and you bang under pressure. Yeah, there you see. What's this off the rail? Well, he did get off the rail as he got an angle. And he's also bumped the 6 touching the rail. That's awkward. When it's off the rail, you can pot it up in the corner, no problem. Now it's touching the rail. Just makes life a little more difficult. But you can see he's got a little bit of angle. He can pull it back out into the centre. It's all about the green 6 now. He's got to get from the 5 onto this 6.
If he gets to about 8 or 9 and he's still in the lead, then of course there's all the added pressure and the new challenges of trying to get to the World Championship final for the first time. But that will be so much easier if he can get to 8 or 9, and Sanchez Ruiz is still a long way behind.
Okay, he has an angle. Is he going to try and slide past it to shoot it up in the rail? Is he going to try and go into it? Risky. Can't really play the 6-9. Almost feel like he needs to land straight on the 6 as well to get on the 7. He's up against it here, Mario. This looks short to me. Yeah, it's way short. Way short. If the 6 is off the rail, I'm not saying he can roll up to it. It is off the rail. If that was touching the rail, another ball must strike a rail, so the cue ball or the 6 hit another rail on the table.
Extension, please.
I wonder if he can play off the right-hand side edge with loads of right spin, just catch the rail and get it up behind the 8 and the 7. Maybe not. This was an exhibition. You'd play off the left-hand side of it with loads of top. Just keep arcing the cue ball down that rail into the 9, just for a bit of fun. Maybe Soufi would play that shot. Not bad. A tie to 6 would have been better.
It says time foul there, but he had struck the ball plenty of time, so all is well.
Sorry, Michael, I say it's not bad. You can pot this ball. May pot it and just go into the 8 and 7. It's so difficult to hold the cue ball position-wise, so you might have to take a gamble here and just go into the balls. Make sure you pot the 6, though. Sometimes we're guilty of forgetting about the pot because you're worrying about the cannon.
Might see just to the left there of Sanchez Ruiz, Abdullah Al Yusuf. He was in the semi-finals last year. He's been sitting there all through this session, watched the first match, watched his friend Soufi get to the final.
It wobbled in, but he is still full of confidence, he really is, but because to just roll that ball like that, I mean, that takes a lot of bottle. Oh, wow. World number 1, he's not quite firing on all cylinders just yet. He's playing a few good shots and then a few ropey ones. He got safe, he's got a little bit lucky. He's got to come with something here. Big shot coming up, Michael.
Just doesn't quite look the comfortable, carefree player we've seen for so much of the last 12 months or so. But a lot of that, I guess, is down to the circumstances and the fact that he unexpectedly finds himself some way behind. Perhaps a little bit because he went into the semis as such a clear favourite to win the title.
Oh, lovely shot. Lovely bank shot. Unfortunate, it has to be said. He had to draw the cue ball. I don't know if he was trying to draw it into the 8.
Spinning. Thanks.
Well spotted there from Marcel. The cue ball was still spinning, even though it had stopped in its place. So I think the shot clock referee had restarted the clock, but the cue ball is still moving.
Yeah, you're not meant to start the clock again until all balls have come to rest. Marcel never misses a thing. Wonderful referee at both snooker and pool.
Decision time here for Mario. What do you play here, buddy? Oh, I think he's sending the cue ball into the 9, a carom. He's had a go, he's missed it by a mile. That is not a good shot. Not a good shot, not a good effort.
Not a good shot. And potentially a really expensive one.
If you're going to play the shot he's played, you can't be playing it that hard. Because if you miss the 9, look how far the cue ball has come up the table. Play it a little slower. If you miss it, you're leaving more distance. He's overcooked this.
Oh,
he's overcooked it. Wow. Sanchez, he's not quite at the races. It wasn't easy. Them little cutbacks can be missed. Is this Mario He's day?
Well, we've been talking about players giving each other gifts and how important it is to capitalise on them. This rack has been like a game of pass the parcel.
Worrying signs, this.
And a worrying scoreline for Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. He's now trailing by 7 racks to 2. And surely now, Carl, we have to say Mario He is favourite to win this match.
Yeah, he is. I mean, it's just the demeanour and the shots that Sanchez has had.
Mohamed Soufi, incredibly, awaits in the final. Just to clarify, that says 6-3 there. Sanchez Ruiz knows it should have been. Now it's been cleared up to 7-2. We're going to be in Leicester in a few weeks' time for the Premier League, and that, of course, was the home of the greatest sporting upset of all time when Leicester City won the Premier League 7 years ago, defying odds of 5,000 to 1. Mohamed Soufi, if he wins this title, Are we talking that kind of category? Things like Leicester and, of course, Ben Curtis, who won the Open Golf Championship, having never been in the top 10 of any PGA Tour event, never having even played in a major. That could be the story later today. But while Soufi awaits, these two battle it out for the right to meet him. And at the moment, the man in your picture is by far the more likely. 7-2.
Yeah, he's potted the one again. Has he got a shot on the two? Is the pink 4-ball in its way? Soufi for the Premier League. That'd be quite interesting, wouldn't it, Michael? We'll be there commentating, of course, and the way he plays, fast and furious. I'd actually look forward to that.
You mean you don't look forward to 8 days in Leicester with me anyway, Carl?
Sadly not, Michael.
What if we bring Jeremy this time as well? How about that?
Sounds like it's getting worse.
Well, we can definitely say Soufi would be there if he was world champion.
Push out called. Your choice, Francisco.
Going back to the push out, there you see that was the next shot after the break. He couldn't see the 2-ball, he was hooked, so he's decided to roll the cue ball on the top rail. The game of chess now begins. Can Sanchez spot something, what he fancies playing? If he doesn't, Mario will be playing the shot. Decision time. If he hits the bottom side of the 2, he's got a lot of balls to get another hook back here. Here we go. Yep, exactly how he played it. Great shot. Sanchez could be in trouble here because it looks like he can only go up table and back down, and the 3-ball is going to be hard to not play a part in this kick shot.
Extension called.
Was a good shot, really good shot. Had to make something happen there. He had to contact the left side of the 2 to give himself a little bit more time in this rack.
No, you've used it.
Oh, now he's calling for the extension. He's been told he's used it.
Can we check whether he's
Marcel has ordered the clock to be stopped.
It says on the screen they used it, but it...
To confirm that's correct, it does say on our screen here, 1 extension used. And I think that is correct, isn't it? He has used the extension already.
Yeah, so you got that time left when I say...
He's used up another few seconds there, of course, precious seconds, questioning it.
You used it. Restart the shot clock.
Well, you know what? Even if he doesn't agree with that, and he'd be incorrect to disagree with it, it's best to just accept it and not waste mental energy on a row. And in the circumstances, he did pretty well.
Yeah, of course, the referee was right to obviously keep the clock as it was, but surely Marcel's just got to look up at the TV screen, and like we can see, it says you've used your extension, so he should just say you've used it, because it almost gave Mario a little bit more time, didn't it?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's difficult, though, for a referee, because, of course, people do make mistakes from time to time, and Marcel, for all that he's a wonderful ref, is only human, and if he looks up and the player is adamant he hasn't used it, maybe that just puts a little bit of doubt in his mind. He doesn't want to get it wrong in a world semi-final.
Yeah, but then are we ever going to get to the situation where the player just keeps saying, I didn't use it,
Yeah,
I didn't use it?
I hear what you're saying, absolutely. Anyway, the upshot of it all is that the shot he eventually played forced the chance, but that hasn't gone particularly well.
Cue ball just rolling on the rail has made it nasty. If you can pot it and roll the cue ball into the 8, that may be the shot. This is close. It is more than close. It's in the pocket. He may not have a pot here, but he's got a wonderful safety shot. He can just bank the 4 up and down and use the 6 and the 9 as blockers. That's an option. That's what he's trying. Looks hard though, this. It's a mistake. Should do better from there. Safety that from Ruiz. He's got to make something happen. He's got to come soon, hasn't he? He's 5 behind. Just the 4 racks needed for he. When he lost the semi-finals to Albin Ocean.
European Open, yeah.
Yeah, the European Open. He will have learnt a lot from that, even though he lost and he kind of blew it. It will just help him. He will realise that maybe just slow down a little bit, try and think a little clearer. You know, losing's not a bad thing. Well, it is, but you know what I mean? You do learn
it's not the worst thing. So long as you can take something away from it.
Yeah, they say you have to lose to learn. It's going airborne. The short stick is coming. Got to watch the scratch. Oh, he needs this to hold up. Is he going to leave the gap? There is a gap. But he's got to be happy with that. That's gone wrong. Chance for Ruiz now. 6 to the 7. Is the key shot in this rack. The green 6 to the brown 7.
Well, David O'Cady and Jose Alberto Delgado, both out of the championship, but enjoying finals day, watching their mate. O'Cady and Sanchez Ruiz have been a little group, have hung around together for years. They're such great friends. And Delgado, who got to the semi-finals of the UK Open last year, sorry, the European Open, seems to have really joined that gang, which will do him no end of good.
Nicely done. Both players have exchanged shots in this rack. Sanchez is not going to get loads of chances to form a comeback, is he? He's going to run out of racks. You feel like he's got to come in the next couple.
He's got to put a few together, hasn't he, from the break, just as he did against Chang Yung Lin. Okay, so the gap is back to 4. It's 7-3 now for Mario He. We were talking earlier, Carl, about the unique challenge when you've never been in a final of this nature, of just getting across the line. So how do you feel Mario He will deal with that on the basis of what you've seen from him over the years? Because you can never really tell until the player's in that situation.
No, I think the fact that he's in the situation where he's got a nice lead, if he gets the chances, I think he will close the match out. But if it starts to get around 8-7-ish, 8 or 9, he's been winning them matches this week, but he's got to do it now out there. And he's led this match all the way through. It's a weird feeling when you feel like it's going to be your day, don't you? He's sat there thinking everything's going my way, I've got a nice lead. And you know how fast these racks can go. In no time, it could be 7-all.
Yeah, well, Sanchez Ruiz was playing at quite a pace during that run of 9 in a row in the quarter-final last night. Doesn't quite need to produce a run of that nature here, but he's got to start finding some consistency. That's Sufi, isn't it? Yeah, ahead of the final later today, representing Syria.
Francisco Sanchez Ruiz to break.
And Abdullah Al Yusuf has been very much in his corner over the last few days. Acted as his interpreter yesterday for one of his interviews. Great to see Sufi looking so relaxed ahead of the world final that he really can't have expected to be in. Well, 7-3.
I can't believe he's sat there watching. I can't believe he's sat in the crowd watching. He's probably the only player in the world that would be sat there watching the other semi-final.
Tell you what I found even harder to believe this morning. Nothing wrong with it, of course, but Chang Yung Lin, after losing that quarter-final, comes back to the venue this morning and sits in for the semi-final that he had missed out on being in. Just being a good sport. Now, what's he got here?
Well, you can see he does have a shot. There always seems to be a ball, though, when you're trying to form a comeback. The Brown's 7. Keep an eye on that ball where it is.
Extension, please.
It's part of that great year as a result, indeed, of that wonderful 2022. Sanchez Ruiz finally got into the Mosconi Cup team for the first time. Tasted success with Europe in Las Vegas as they won for the 3rd year in a row.
Well, what a result he's had here. The 7 ball was going to play a pivotal role in this rack, but now where he's bumped the 9, he can chase the 9 with the 5 ball.
Could be the first run out from the break in the match.
Here we go, 5-9 combo to pull another rack back.
And that is 2 in a row. First time he's done that in the whole match. Sanchez Ruiz closes to 7-4 behind. So here is the 5-9 combination again, and this is what we were talking about, isn't it? Yes, he's still in a good position, but now it's 7-4, and that's got a totally different feel to 7-2. Sanchez Ruiz gets a little closer. Big questions being asked of Mario He in a situation he's never experienced in his life. some numbers for you.
He's potted double the balls pretty much of Sanchez. Missed pots 2 from Sanchez. He's missed a couple of balls there. Early on he missed the 8, didn't he? There was a chance to keep close to he.
Yeah, not only was that the first break and run, it was the first rack that Sanchez Ruiz has even won on his own break at the 4th attempt.
Also the break and win on your own break. Only 1 for Sanchez, 4 for he. Oh, Michael, that's unlucky, isn't it?
Yeah. Every time you think we're getting a narrative, a pattern in this match, subsequent events always keep proving us wrong. Smacked in by the 3 to the side pocket.
When you were saying about the fact that it's 7-4 and he's making a comeback, this is a big rack for the scoreline. 7-5 on the scoreboard or 8-4, it seems like worlds apart.
I think it was Eddie Charlton, the Australian who was in the World Snooker Championship final, once said every frame in that case, although he was quite a pool player himself, feels like it counts for 2 for the very reason you've just said, and that is even more true as you come towards the end of a match.
Look at the split Mario's got. This is a very kind table. All the balls in the open. The 8 is over the side. The 7's near it, so you just can't really fail. He doesn't have to play a good shot, really. He's got to make sure he clears the table here, because the worst thing he could do is just make a little error, lose the rack, and then he may sit in his chair and start to slump a little bit, thinking of the what-ifs.
Yeah, and you could almost say if it did go 7-5, well then, is Sanchez Ruiz, with all the momentum, having won 3 in a row as he would have by then, back to being favourite?
He has lost a cue ball here a little bit, though. Far too close to the rail. Cue ball's going to be floating near the 9. Wants this to bounce. Now he's got to play another little soft shot here with a little bit of left spin. Just float up the centre of the table. Maybe he could play it with the right spin as well. Let's see. Yeah, he just played it with left. That's okay.
Extension, please.
Well, he's made this prospective run out a little more complicated than it perhaps needed to be, but should be fine from here. Sanchez Ruiz looked as though he might be in the early stages of some sort of recovery. But the cue ball got kicked into the side pocket. Mario He has nipped it in the bud. He's 4 ahead once again and just 3 away from a place in the final. Mario He be going to all those events as champion of the world. Well, at the moment, he's 16 racks away from doing just that. He needs 3 more to get through to the final.
He's been breaking good in this match. He's not had much luck off the break, though. Not really had many shots on the lowest ball, Michael.
No, he's potted something off the break every time, but yeah, hasn't got the love, as you would put it, Carl.
This was the whole purpose of the break change, though, the old break when the 1 was on the spot. And you was guaranteed the wing ball. Well, it was nothing short of a shambles, in fairness. Even you could break back then, Michael.
Funny you should say that. There's a table in our hotel. I was having a knock this morning. Everything was going in. Then Alex Lely walks in the room, spots me playing, and suddenly I can't pot anything.
So you're saying the pressure of the former Mosconi Cup captain got to you?
Yeah, I could cope with a former assistant captain like you being in the room, but not Alex.
You wouldn't be able to handle the ribbing I would give you.
Become immune to it after all these years, Carl. So, tell us what the situation is here.
Well, is he hooked or can he see the potting angle? Maybe has to play a little swerve shot.
Extension, please.
Little swerve. Yeah, good shot. That's the creativity of the pool player there. Didn't have the potting angle, so he had to just bend it round a little bit.
As you mentioned there, Carl, Alex Lely, former European Mosconi Cup captain. Now, I'm not going to ask you about yourself and whether or not you would be interested for the job, but can you give me any other names that you would like to see being in the reckoning?
That's a good question. I think you've got to sort of just look at the elder players that are about, really. I mean, Ralph Souquet's buzzing about still in it. Maybe Niels Feyen, obviously. He's Dutch. Even Darren Appleton, I know he's not been very well, so maybe not just yet. I don't know. It's a funny one. I know people probably thinking, we already know, but it's so early on in the season. I don't even think discussions have been started yet.
The thing with Niels Feyen, absolutely agree. I think he's made for the role, but he still clearly feels that he could be playing on the team. And I think some of the play he produced this week would back that up. So I think if he was offered it, he might well say, definitely in a few years' time, but I'm not quite ready for that yet.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if you're still competing and you've got some form of ranking and you're playing on the tour, I don't know, I find it a bit bizarre if you're captain, really, but I suppose there's not that many options, actually, when you start looking around. I wonder if we could ever get somebody from another sport to do it.
Well, there's a thought now. You got someone in mind?
Yeah, someone like Roy King.
Well, that is the most remarkable sporting suggestion I have heard, or will hear, in all of 2023. But in the meantime, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz has pulled one back there.
I just feel like he's still in this match. He's lurking, isn't he? He's not a runaway. It feels like it's all been Mario He, but he's just hanging on in there. Can something happen just to put a bit of a twist on this match and throw some huge pressure over to Mario He?
Yeah, and look, we can't ignore the fact that he has been this close to a big Matchroom, multi-table, full field event final before, only a few months ago, and was beaten in a close finish to the semi-final by Albin Ocean, and he wouldn't be human if that wasn't in his head somewhere.
Thank you, D14, Frek. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz to break. Trailing 8-5.
Oh, now, can he get through to the two?
I would say he can. Obviously that's just purely looking at this camera angle that we're all looking at, but I would hazard in the favour he can get through. If he can't get to the pot, he'll just flick the rail first. There you see. Oh, he didn't get on the three though.
Yeah, just needed to come across a touch further. Catch it on the other side.
Extension, please.
You can play thin off this. 2 rails up towards that 5. Try and use the 9 ball as a blocker. Wants us to slow down, doesn't want to leave Mario a rail first, and I think he has. Similar shot to Sanchez on the 2. Yeah, not as easy as Sanchez is, but he can certainly go rail first. Very difficult to play safe and try and get him behind 1 ball. People at home, if you've never played this game, you don't realise how fast these tables are. And the biggest shock is when you've never played it, is you can't believe how big the balls are on the table. They're massive. Oh, he swerved it round and potted it. Oh, he's been unlucky there, though. Are things just starting to turn around? Played a good shot there. Could have hit the 6 full and left a pot, and it would have been rack over. Now he's jumping. Sanchez at the table with a look at the 4. He's been behind a long way in this match. He's never been at this point in the match where he feels like he's back in the game. This would be the rack what would start to give him some belief in this semi-final.
Well, it was 2-0. He hasn't been within 2 at any point since then. And if there's one player you don't want coming up in your rear view mirror at the moment in top level pool, it's Sanchez Ruiz.
Three balls remain for a game that's never been in Sanchez's sight. He's been on the back foot really from the get-go. It's been all Mario he. Winner breaks. He's more than capable of running a couple together and keeping Mario glued to the chair.
From 7-2 down, he's won 4 of the last 5, and arguably now has gone favourite again. Let's see what they're playing for in terms of both prize money and world ranking points, don't forget, because every dollar there counts as a world ranking point. 17,500 guaranteed now for getting this far, and then that goes up to 30 if you get to the final. And it's double your money if you can win that final. $60,000 to the eventual world champion here in Poland this evening.
Well, comparing it to the other big sports, you know, people might be watching thinking it's not a great deal of money. But we are in the early stages of trying to create something big here, Michael, aren't we? We're trying to grow the game of 9-ball. But the man who's in the final, who's guaranteed 30, that is big money for him, isn't it, Mohamed Soufi?
Well, he's never even reached 7,000 in a full year, put it that way.
Trailing by 8
And
racks.
the thing is as well, whereas previously you might only have had a couple of chances a year to earn those sort of checks, now you've got maybe 6, 7, 8 and growing, so bear all that in mind. 8-6.
Does Sanchez finally get a look at the 2? He also has not had much luck on the break. This time, that walk, El Ferrari, is also one of his nicknames. I know we call him FSR. But he starts to motor on, and that 2 goes past the 6, so things are changing in this semi.
I think you've got to make him favourite now. He's got the momentum behind him. He's only 2 behind, a chance to reduce that to 1. He has got all the baggage of trying to get to a final of this nature for the first time. Okay, Sanchez Ruiz hasn't been in a world final, but US Open is more or less the equivalent.
Needs a good shot here. He's going to have to go forward with this cue ball. Off the top rail and back down. If he lands straight on the ball after this, the pink, that would make life very easy getting on the purple 5. These next 2 shots are the shots that's going to win him the rack. Falling on the rail may make it a little interesting. There you see on the back of the shirt, FSR. If he's dead straight, he's got to go forward and just get the cue ball to stop. Absolutely straight on this 5. If he overruns it, he's already missed one in that side pocket. It was the red 3 after the crazy fluke as well.
Yeah, if you weren't with us for the earlier part of the match, you've got to see that fluke on the 2.
Well, I bet it's all over social media.
No one's looking at that. They're all watching the coverage.
He's got an angle. Oh, I thought he might have been tempted to go forward then. So, yeah, he has overrun it. I wonder if he could have gone forward off 2 rails for the 5 in the bottom right. Maybe it wasn't there. Big shot coming up. He's overrun position. This is tight in the side pocket. Could play safe in behind the 9. Just bump the 5 up table. 5 would miss the 7. You could get the cue ball glued on the 9, but with Fran, take this ball on. He's got 3 seconds left. It's there. It is there. He knows that was a big shot. A massive shot. Maybe the shot that's going to help him get to the final.
And I'm just noticing the last couple of moments, that familiar bounce in his step just seems to be coming back.
Yeah, these 3 balls now, once he pots them, we're going to have to see what Mario's about. He's played well in this match, but he's going to be put under the gun now. He's in the territory where he has made a bit of a mess of these kind of matches last season.
And so from 4-8, it's back to 7-8. Sanchez Ruiz will now be breaking with a chance to draw level. Something he hasn't been since the very beginning of the match. I referred there to the US Open success that Francisco Sanchez Ruiz had in Atlantic City back in October. What a memorable week it was. That great semi-final against Carlo Biado just managed to hold him off as the defending champion charged back at him, took him into a final against Max Lechner. And what a way to seal that wonderful year. There was still the Mosconi to come, of course. He clinched his place on the team that week, became world number 1. It was the stuff of dreams in the United States for one of the most likable men you could ever meet. Wearing the green jacket, holding the Barry Berman Trophy, named after the founder of the great event, which goes all the way back to 1976.
Trailing 8-7.
Is he going to add the world title tonight? He's got every chance now of getting to the final, much more so than 30 minutes ago.
Oh, is this going to be dry? Is this going to be dry? Mario Huiller's got a shot here. He's got an open table. Can he hold himself together? This is his first test in this semi-final, Michael. It really is. Everything's gone his way. He's had the, the pressure free of a big lead. He's felt relaxed. Now he's under the gun. Big moment coming up this rack.
We're going to know a lot more about Mario Huiller and what he's made of in a few minutes' time.
Can he hold the cue ball, spinning it with left off 2? It's a delicate one. Cue ball can get away from you. Oh, this is good. This is good. That's ideal.
Saw the dry break stat going up there. It's the first from either player since the very first shot of the match when it happened to Sanchez Ruiz.
If he's dead straight on the 2, he could play a stop shot, just shoot the 3 up into the top right. Now he's got an angle. He'll play for the 3 in the bottom right pocket or the left centre. Slow down. He wants it to slow down, doesn't he? He's okay. He's a good cueist, Mario. You know, we talk about the players on the circuit. You know, I know Sufi's in the final. He's got a bizarre cue action. He'll be the first to admit it. Sanchez does move a lot on the cue, but Mario overall, technically, very, very sound, and under pressure potting the ball, that will always stand you in good stead.
And he really is under pressure here. He's looking so much in command of this semi-final. 7-2 was the most significant lead he had.
Okay, it's all going to be about the 8 ball to the 9, I think. It looks okay there. You can just pull the cue ball back up to the centre of the table. 6 to the 7's dead easy. He's just got to decide where he wants the cue ball on this 8 ball. There can be funny shots then, where the 8's over near the top right corner to that side rail, trying to get back down for the 9. He's took his time on this shot. It looks like he can just play a soft little draw back out into the middle. He could. I think he's going to load it up though. No, he did play the shot, I thought. Yeah. That's fine. Okay, that is not ideal. You always want angles in 9 ball, and he's got a very small one. So pulling the cue ball back is going to be no good. He may have to go forward with top left spin. I think he does have to go forward. Oh, how do you like this? That is a good effort. He's not out the woods yet, but that was a good effort.
Yeah, particularly in the situation when the match has really started to turn against him. I said we were going to find out a lot more about Mario He and his makeup in this rack once he had the chance. And these signs are very encouraging. Oh, but stop the presses. What a finish we're going to have to this rack, Carl.
Wasn't easy, that. On this slidey equipment, it's hard to get the cue ball to bite. So, yeah, you feel like it's a bad shot, but it's not as bad as you think that. It was a really horrible shot. You just knew it. When he landed straight on the 7, this is what he's faced with. He's faced with a David Al-Qaedi. Al-Qaedi made one of these to win the Masters. Is it there? It's not. Has he left Sanchez a hanger? He has. Oh, has he?
Or has he? No, just that last roll and a half maybe changes this shot so much.
Wow. Let's look at Sanchez's face. That usually tells us all we need to know.
Extension called.
Well, this is probably the most obvious comment I'll ever make in commentary, but this is the biggest moment of this match so far.
Well, he's going for the corner, or is he playing safe? He's playing safe. So Mario, take 2 for the bank shot.
You surprised by that choice? You surprised he played safe?
Yeah, it was obviously, if he felt he could have chopped it in a pocket, he would have attacked it. Obviously, the camera's always deceiving to us, but if he could have potted the ball, he would have gone for it. Second chance for Mario He. This is a little easier than the first one. Top left pocket. Is it in? It's not. He's missed 2 banks now. And he has left Sanchez a pot. Sanchez was patient there. He could have gone for a little bank or something himself. He decided to play safe and just hope he got another shot at the table. This to tie it up.
After he scratched on the break in rack 12, he fell 8-4 behind. But now it's 8-all. They both need 3 for a place in the World Championship final.
We're all tied.
And effectively, it's a race to 3 from here to get through to the biggest match in pool.
Where's the 2 going to finish? He's going to have some look at it. Well, he's going to have a pot at it as well. Yeah, in the previous rack, Michael, Sanchez still had to pot the long 9, didn't he? Obviously, we're fans of him for it, but you never know. What a turnaround we've seen here. He's dug deep, hasn't he, Sanchez? He's never give up. He's tried to keep that positivity, you know, that strut around the table. That's very unique to himself. And how big is that last mistake from Mario going to prove to be?
You sometimes see players get to #1 in the world rankings in various sports, particularly if they've made a rapid ascent there. People say, yeah, but he's not really the best player in the world. Well, it's performances like this that will maybe strengthen the case for people not saying that any longer. And really, if Sanchez Ruiz, from 7-2 down in the semi-final, ends up as world champion tonight, in addition to being the US Open champion, well, how could anyone question his status as the game's preeminent figure? He's already had 2 break and runs in this match. Mario He, remarkably, is yet to have one. Mohamed Soufi awaits in the final.
Extension, please.
He's just decided whether he wants to try and kill the cue ball, or does he want to get the cue ball on the bottom rail. That's all he's doing here. So it's the first option. Yeah, when you were talking about the fact that he's the #1, is he the best player in the world? I mean, obviously over the last 12 months he is, but it's very rare from when I've watched him in these situations. When he gets a look at that lowest ball, he puts a lot of break and runs together, doesn't he, Michael?
Certainly saw that last night in the quarter-final. And in this semi-final, he now leads for the very first time in the match. Yeah, and the other thing as well is the rankings at the moment are based on points won since the start of last year. Ultimately, it's going to be a 2-year list. So it's only when we get to the end of 2023 we'll have that for the first time. And that's going to be a big prestige thing, to be #1 when it's based on a full 2 years. Now, if he goes on to win this championship, he'll have such a big lead at the top of the standings, with points continuing to be added throughout 2023. Well, he's going to take some stopping in the race to be the end of year number 1. So, what can Mario He say to himself, sitting in his chair there, Carl, to convince himself that he can still win this semi-final?
Well, he's got to just keep fighting. He's got to not think bad thoughts. He's got to keep fighting. He's been in this situation all week, hasn't he? He's won a lot of hills or 11-9s. We've already discussed that.
Francisco Sanchez Ruiz to break.
He's got to remember that it's 9-8. Don't think we'll have 8-4, 8-5 up or whatever. You know, forget about the lead you've had. You're still in this match. You're only 1 behind.
But he's now lost 5 in a row.
No shot on the 2. Balls look messy, so we might see Mario in this rack play a visit.
What's he got here, Carl? How do you think he's seen this?
Yeah, the bank does go. I think he just squeezes past the 4, but I don't think the 3 goes.
Extension, please.
That's why he's played safe. Oh, he's left a gap. He has left the pot, but now Mario's going to be faced with this tricky table. I wonder if he could bank the 3 in the bottom right pocket. I know he's got to get on that first, but if he could, it may be a small chance.
Mario He back at the table for the first time since those 2 missed long-distance bank shots he attempted on the 9 at the end of rack 16.
I think he's going to hook himself here behind the 8. He is. Oh, this is turning out to be a bit of a nightmare now. This is what's so good about the game of 9-ball, though. Things can just change. A couple of shots, you know, it's not so much bad luck. He had that big rack, didn't he, where he nearly scratched on the 8. He had a chance in that rack. He's going airborne. What's he left? Goes in the top pocket.
It's at the point now where, with the way Sanchez Ruiz has stepped it up a bit, Mario He leaving the table, perhaps with thoughts in his mind that he might not be coming back to it before the match ends. Well, you surprised there? Well, you called that the 3 would go in the top.
No, I'm not surprised, just because it weren't easy to get on that 4. It's in a bit of an awkward spot. Purple 5. If it passes the 6, he's got to play it off the rail, so he's not got a full pocket, but it looks like it still goes. And I think if he's thinking if he gets ball in hand, maybe it's easier to get on the pink 4. Got to watch the scratch here. Good hit. Good things can happen here. It's a big 8-ball. He's going to leave the gap.
Amazing how it happens. Those things were running his way in the early part of the match when he was playing well and building that 4-0 lead, which became 5-1 and later 7-2.
Oh, that's a good effort. You could see from the previous camera angle he didn't have a lot of angle to work with, so he really tried to pump that over. Just landed a little short pace. Just keeps potting the balls, doesn't he?
Sounds so easy when you say it like that, but he looks a different character now. It's only about an hour or so ago we were saying this semi-final, the big occasion, was in danger of passing him by. But now he's making it his own.
He's going to need a good shot here. Them 3 balls on the right are a massive target. He's decided to use the 6. He'll play the jump shot here. He'll go close to potting this 5. These days in the modern era, jumping over that 6 is not difficult at all. So he will make contact with this 5. It's near the pocket. Sanchez will know he has a chance of potting this ball. Is he going to leave a pot, or is the 7 going to save the day? He'll be delighted with the outcome of that.
He's got to keep his chin up, hasn't he? It's all turned against him so much. But how many times in his life is he going to be 3 racks away from getting to the world final? Can't let the shoulders slump.
Doing a good job here, isn't it? Everything, every shot he's playing, speed, everything's just nice. He's really taking it to Mario. Well, he's got the jump cue, but that looks like all he can do is really hit it. Doesn't really look like he's playing a particular shot here, other than just hit the 5 and hope it's your day. Again, that's not bad, Michael. He's got a good cue ball. There's no pot available. The combination is far too difficult, so he won't even attempt that. Needs another good safety. This is turning into an interesting rack, and it's a rack that will put Ruiz on the hill too clear or tie the match up. Big rack for you feel, more than Ruiz.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen so many really high quality safety exchanges in this match. It's not been a match with a lot of break and runs, only a couple of those.
Good shot. They can be nervy then when you've got to roll it across the width of the slate and you've only got that 1 ball to land behind. Could go close to potting this in the left centre. Cue ball may go behind the 8 as a hook. Oh, where's this gonna go? Where is the 5 gonna go? Is it Sanchez's tournament? That is a good fluke. He didn't play that. He can bank this in the side as well. He's absolutely landed nice on the bank shot in the side. He's not played it. He's played the good cue ball. Again, another good safety shot. Now, Mario needs all sorts to happen here. There's no balls that are really going to help him. I don't even know if he can jump over. He can, he's got the jump cue. This is the biggest jump shot Mario He will face in this match.
Foul.
And he didn't get over the ball. It was too close.
Ball in it.
Sanchez stayed patient in this rack. He had a couple of bad rolls against him, but he's played some good safety shots. Ball in hand to get on the hill.
And that, in all probability, is going to be that.
Foul.
We were saying earlier, Mario He would face a big test if he made it to the hill. How far ahead would he be? Well, as it's turned out, it's going to be Sanchez Ruiz to the hill first. And he's got there with half a dozen racks in a row. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz is one away from the final. This is what great champions, world number ones, do, isn't it, Carl? When you can't see a way back for them, when they're a long way behind, things aren't going their way, they're not playing well, they find a way.
Yeah, they just keep fighting. They try and make something happen, never give up. You can see the difference. He looks done, doesn't he? He looks beat. He needs the last three. But I always feel like if it's a 10-9 match, that's like hill, really. Both players are going to be feeling pressure. So he's more than still in this match. He can still win this match, but he's just showing signs that he looks like he's a beaten man.
Do you think Sanchez Ruiz would be as capable of a turnaround like this if it wasn't for everything he'd done over the last year and the belief that's given him?
Francisco Sanchez Ruiz is breaking on the hill, leading 10-8.
Probably not, no. I mean, like you say, you just ride this crazy wave, don't you, where, you know, you're winning the tournaments, your bank balance is healthy, that always helps. And obviously he travels around to these events with David Alcaide and a few of the other Spanish, so he's happy at the tournaments. Cue ball's close. This is the difference. The cue ball, it's both points, which stays dry, and he's got a shot on the one ball. Watch the cue ball here. Fair enough, it got kicked, so he doesn't have any right to scratch.
When he got to the US Open final back in October, it was very much the opposite route. On that occasion, he led 7-2 against Carlo Biado. He was 10-6 in front after a brilliant turnaround. Followed by a brilliant turnaround from Biado to win the next four. Sanchez Ruiz had to come through in a hill finish. So much has happened in his life over the last 8 months. Perhaps the best is yet to come in a few hours, but he's got to get to that final first. Mario He is to lose. He'll really have to learn some lessons from it. Wonder why this has happened again after a similar experience at the European Open. But now it's all about this man and a chance to underline his status in such emphatic fashion. Not many players have ever held the World and US Open titles at the same time. It's a monumental effort when you consider all the pool that has to be played and all the great players that have to be beaten to win titles of that stature.
What a performance this has been, though. It really has. He looked like he was going to get beat in the semis. He's dug deep, he stayed positive, and he's just 2 balls away from making another major final.
In the last 12 months, he's become World Cup winner, Mosconi Cup winner on his debut. He's become the US Open champion. And of course, he's become the world #1. And if he wins one more match tonight, he'll be the champion of the world. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, from 7-2 down, has beaten Mario He by 11 racks to 8. And this wonderful full house in Kielce show full appreciation of that wonderful turnaround. He was 8-4 down, and he's rounded it off with 7 on the bounce.